Justice in Motion, courtside with Jared Jones.
Can you believe it? Time flies, right? It feels like I spoke to you yesterday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is normally a marker for me that on a Wednesday, once we speak to Jared, we are moving towards the weekend. How are you doing, sir? You good?
No, I'm doing very well, Sam. Thank you.
For our new listeners, what is our mission? What is your mission every Wednesday?
So, Sam, the mission is simple: legal education of the masses. We want to make sure people are empowered with legal knowledge so they make the right decisions and calls in situations requiring that.
And that is why we have this segment called Justice in Motion with our noble attorney, Jared Jones. Okay, today it's a bit of a doozy because I feel there's just so much myth wrapped up in this one. Civil wrongs, real consequences, defamation, and social media. Know before you post. Okay, let us in. What were you thinking?
All right. So, Sam, the simple preface to this is as follows. I've noticed personally that there's been an increase of these kind of matters that have happened more and more, not only just in the business world, but everywhere. We have social media, this disassociation from consequence, seemingly, from posting whatever you like about whoever you like. Yes, about someone. And the problem is, what they don't realize, and society seems to have forgotten to a certain extent, is that these kind of statements have real life consequences. They damage people psychologically. There are legal consequences.
Relationships, in marriages, and maybe to a point as well that for whatever reason, social media doesn't have a fence. So somebody could just post something horrible about Sam and Jared every day if they wanted to.
Well, absolutely, Sam. And the thing is this is the simple reality of it. You know, there is a commercial consideration that is attached to reputation. For example, in the business world, you're not simply doing work by means of selling a product. You sell the product by means of your reputation, both personally as well as professionally. I mean, a typical example was the matter overseas with that, I think it was the Coldplay concert with the kiss cams. Yes.
Yeah.
Now that's had
I said Andy Byron, who was the CEO of Astronomer, and the female lady's name was Christine Cabot.
Correct. So what I imagine is there's going to be a lot of hullabaloo over that particular item because it's most likely had an astronomical, excuse the pun, but astronomical effect on the reputation of the company.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm actually very closely following that story because I just wrote an article about it. And I can tell you already, they have already both lost their jobs. There's backwards and forwards, the reputational damage to both their families, their reputation. It is just, and it's ongoing. And now the company itself is having massive issues with shareholders and stakeholders. It's got, the implication has been crazy.
And again, all that, the shareholders' prices for their shares is dependent on stock market perceptions, and this has just done a huge amount of damage to that particular issue.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention that the reports are that both those individuals are now fighting each other in court as well.
Absolutely.
So it's become an absolute show.
Yes.
Okay, so what does the law say, Jared?
Okay, so the common law principle is as follows. There are 5 elements one has to look at when you make these statements. Firstly, the statement must be intentional and wrongful. It must be published, and obviously constitute a defamatory statement, and then be in relation to another party. So for a typical example, what I would say is I go on a public platform such as Facebook and or LinkedIn and start making statements of a false and wrongful nature about Sam. Yeah. There are certain limitations in the public interest, but that has a very limited scope. So whenever try to make any kind of statement like that, one has to be monumentally careful.
Sure.
So,
But now, here's the question, and I'm going to throw it at you because you're the expert and you know the law, and we are all laymen. But now somebody's sitting in the car going, but Jared, is it defamation if I talk about my boss and how horrible they treat me? Or is it defamation if I post a video telling about the company hours and how I'm being mistreated? Or, Jared, I posted something in a WhatsApp group and my post the intention of the post was to alert people to stuff, but the fallout of the post I could not have controlled. And so what do you say, Mr. Expert, to those questions?
So it's a tricky one. You know, there was about a year ago, there was a similar case in a large accounting firm, international one, and someone had unfortunately ended their life due to, I think, depression and various other elements. The problem is you are dealing with a very difficult situation and starting to target an employer. So do not use that by any means as a measuring stick on when to make statements about other people. I think what one should usually start with is, where am I who am I communicating to this to, how many, in what kind of platform? It's usually going to be on a public social media platform, and what is the chances of this getting back to my employer or the person concerned? And more concerningly, what are the potential consequences before you even press post? You need to have a very careful analysis of that. What I would recommend, if you're looking for help on a social media platform, do it anonymously. Do not mention parties. Say these are the difficulties. If you are looking for a platform for legal advice or to engage with somebody, do it anonymously. Do not get into all the details. And be very clear what your intention is here. If your intention is to literally just slander a person on social media, don't do it. There are...
to pay back revenge, don't do it.
Precisely. I mean, even if the other party is in the wrong, I think it is incredibly ill-advised to start putting private business in the public space. There are better forums for that. For example, the CCMA, labour courts, any of the other court systems or other remedies. Go through your lawyers as well, a letter. Those kind of remedies are society's way of dealing with wrongful conduct. To put it out in the public space as it is potentially very damaging, especially to the average person out there that doesn't have massive amounts of capital to defend a matter or to pay damages and get legal teams as well to try and defend the matter. So for you and me, the simple answer to that is think about your forum, think about your motives, and think about the consequences that are going to come from that.
Can I walk this back a little bit and ask you this question, because I think you're going to draw the line in the sand for us unequivocally. Define defamation. For somebody who's thinking, defamation is this or that. According to the law, what is defamation?
Okay, so defamation is effectively where you make a wrongful and intentional statement about someone which is of a derogatory, defamatory nature, and you're doing that in a public setting or publication of it. So you're disseminating that statement out in public society. There's various understandings of what publication is, but nowadays I think it's safe to say that if you're going to put something in a platform such as Facebook or LinkedIn, you are Twitter, you are well diving into the realm of public space and publication, and obviously about that other person or parties. So again, it can be a natural or juristic person, it can be about a company. You can get sued for defamation for damaging the reputation of a company. And then, when dealing with these issues, what one looks at in terms of the damages component of it is, you're looking at the seriousness of the defamation, the nature and extent of the publication, such as your Twitters.
So if Facebook reaches billions of people, that could hurt you even more.
Yeah, exactly, because you're taking that reputation and you're basically throwing it in the mud in front of an audience of millions. And then the next aspects to it are the reputation and character and conduct of the party suing, and lastly, the motives and conduct in doing that particular publication. Again, if it is a situation where you are dealing with public interest and there is a legitimate concern to put it out there. Again, there are other ways to do these things. There's whistleblowing acts and provisions to deal with labor-related issues. To put it out in the public space, get yourself a lawyer first. Make sure you've crafted any publication or thing you want to say immaculately carefully and make sure you have covered yourself in terms of those protections. Otherwise, some of these claims can go from not only just general damages, say 350,000 Rand for a statement. It could be a commercial.
You.
Yes. It could be for example, there's a Hector versus Bernard case where it was 350,000 Rand damages for the defamatory statement. Now imagine if you sue someone that's, for example, an Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, not that that's a South African example, but you sue someone of that kind of caliber commercially, or if they sue you, imagine the amount of damages they could claim or their business could claim, because the two are intrinsically linked.
So basically, if Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk went after you, it's not just you paying that, it's your generations after you. You're enslaved.
Look, to be honest, it wouldn't be the worst thing I would consider, because firstly, the damages will be against you and practically you're never going to get it back. But they'll never get it back. But the problem is there's also criminal implications. There's criminal injury.
I was about to ask that question,
So there's two aspects one would look at, is your common law, which is your...
this is just from just you saying something horrible about your neighbor. There's potentially criminal...
Exactly. So this is the problem. You've got criminal injury. We had, I think, subject to correction, there's still defamation charges one can go for in criminal law. But there's definitely criminal injury. And there's also the Cybercrimes Act. You could be looking at, depending on the sentence, you could be doing something between 1 to 5. Because of, potentially. Look, generally, you're going to look at suspended sentences and that kind of thing.
But still, who wants that hanging over them?
And it's on your record. Once it's on your record,
it's a mess.
It's a nightmare. So the point is, words matter. What comes out of your mouth matters. And it doesn't matter if you have nothing else to lose. Believe me, if it was somebody of influence and power, you will definitely have something to lose.
For sure. I want to get to this other important point. There's two, actually. Just kind of getting your thoughts before we get to the case study.
Yes.
The burden may be on you. So in terms of the South African defamation law, the burden may be on you to prove that what you said is true or in the public interest.
So on that as a defence mechanism, so on the defence side for the person who made the statement, again, what we've dealt with already is what are your motives and the conduct of the party trying to defend this action? What really brought you to make these statements in the public forum? Is it a matter of it's genuinely in the public interest? Let's talk
malice.
Well, exactly. Let's talk about, for example, a example for Mkwanazi, the recent statements that have been made. That is a monumentally challenging statement to make in the public. However, I would have imagined before making any such statement, they have gone through legal teams and ensured that they have the receipts to back it up. And again, if it's about public figures that are dealing with state funds, and there is criminal activity related to that, then by all means, it would be in the public interest to expose that issue, especially if there's all sorts of other issues going on in the background. That is merely speculation. But, one has to be very careful before making any kind of statement. Now, measure this against, okay, well, it may be true, perhaps. Let's just go with that example. Let's give them half a shot. But my real motives are I'm a competitor of that person in the field, and I make the statement, or I like or support the statement. That is potentially defamatory, because now you are backing up something because of a motive of raising yourself in the market versus someone else. That is severely problematic. So you got to make sure that all your boxes are ticked, both the truth and the motives for why you're saying something.
Can I ask something super silly?
No, absolutely.
Sam goes to the local shop.
Yes.
And he buys, let's say it's the third or fourth time, he buys a tin of baked beans and the quality is horrible. And Sam goes and he posts, this is my fourth item I bought at Jared's supermarket, and all their products are absolutely, this product was horrible, but they just generally consistently sell horrible stuff. And they put that in a community post.
Okay.
Is that defamation?
So, again, fine line. First and foremost, yes, we have right of freedom of expression in terms of Section 16 of the Constitution. That is not an all-encompassing or eternal blanket right. It depends on the circumstances. So if you look at our consumer laws and the rights about giving feedback, you're absolutely entitled to make a complaint about a product and say, listen, I'm unhappy with this service or goods. I've left my opinion on the issue. But, when you start going beyond
that post,
the post or the services or the goods, and you start...
I'm attacking Jared.
Now we're attacking character. And I think this is an important one for anyone making these statements. Do not, please, for your own safety and protection, do not go into a character assassination or trampling of the person concerned or business concerned, because now you are going past your legal protections and now you are just attacking someone potentially with civil or criminal consequences. So again, bear in mind your motives and bear in mind the language and what you're complaining about. Stick to the script.
Quick comment on this as we run through this. Jokes or freedom of expression aren't always valid defenses. Intent is less important than impact.
Well, that's it. Again, I think we've dealt with this in a few other aspects on the criminal side. It's not only your intentions that matter, it's what the impact is. I'll go to a typical hypothetical, but I've seen this in the school settings, especially with social media. You have your various different social groupings. You have one popular group, you have slightly less people.
Part of the popular group.
You see, I was never particularly part of the jock squad. I was more musically or culturally inclined. So, then one decides, okay, I don't like a person for whatever reason. They're entitled to not like someone.
Clothes, whatever.
But now we're going to make their lives miserable. And we go to social media and we start making jokes.
Cyberbullying.
Correct. Now, even if it was a joke, let's just say it goes a step further and we have a situation where someone's taken their life or done something or there's been a consequence.
Which has actually happened.
Unfortunately,
in
during
this country it happened.
And during my upbringing, I've seen that in situations where people have gone that far. The point is, what right did that person have to draw that person into such a space where they would even contemplate that? So it's not just the words you say or the intention you say. It's what has happened, because if that has damaged someone commercially or resulted in them taking their lives, that is going to be a huge thing considered by the court. And again, any children that are engaging in this activity or any people should be sat down very carefully by people of authority, parents, and effectively restricted from this conduct, because it's not okay conduct for a society, and it will or can and will have everlasting consequences if this goes the full distance on that matter.
Can I ask another silly question? When and we see often in breakups of relationships,
yes,
that one person will go onto a social media platform and then lay out the facts, well, according to them, the facts. But what it ends up doing, it ends up tarnishing either the woman or the husband with their standing. It could be they had a fallout, they're no longer together, they're now exes, and she goes on a rant and posts all this stuff.
Yes.
Could that be considered as defamation?
It certainly could. Again, what I would caution anyone going into public spaces, I know relationships, that seems to be the stuff we like to read on social media all of a sudden. But yes, I mean, pain is a thing. People have to process pain. Going onto social media and attacking people or attacking the person directly or any kind of fluting exercise like that is not acceptable. It's not a normative behavior. I know we see these things in the media and on dramas and all that kind of thing. The practical reality is that is not an indicator of a healthy society. So if you don't know how to process that pain or that betrayal or whatever it is, go to personal friends or to a therapist or somebody. Go and deal with it and get the right tools to deal with that. Social media is not the appropriate forum to start dealing with your own inner turmoil and demons. And because, again, ultimately that results in some sort of defamatory claim against you, criminal proceedings, consequences.
Yeah.
So it's all about being a responsible citizen.
Then I think this is very important. which is really, really important, Jared. Retweeting or forwarding defamatory content can make you legally liable. And I think this is something the people I certainly know don't know this.
Yes. So the practical reality on this one is, if you see something like this, don't start forwarding it all over the show. I mean, look, news articles and that kind of thing, that is primarily dealt with a media house, and I'm talking about registered media houses in the Republic and elsewhere. You know, they are making a public statement in this public sphere. But for you to now fan the flames of a particular statement, do not get into that. Not only can this kind of conduct even damage and destroy criminal proceedings against people, in terms of publishing information and pictures and all sorts of stuff well before the case has even been heard. But the problem is, as a citizen, to take a mere opinion or statement that is not verified or true or in the right motive whatsoever.
Neighbor, your friend, your brother, your father, whatever it may be, supporting them by moving it along and posting it into other groups.
Correct. And what's worse is, much like what we always say about document everything, you are self-documenting your own downfall. So please don't do it. If there's a social engagement about a particular topic, that's great. If we're now going to start talking about characters of people, just don't. It's not the place to do it, and you can put yourself in the firing line together with the main author.
Whew. I think that is something important that we really have to think about, because sometimes we jump on the friend bandwagon and I want to support you, my friend, and then you call the friend and say, listen, I just posted something, please retweet it, and that's how you can, according to what you're saying now,
correct,
that's how you get yourself in trouble.
Yes.
Let's go to our case. A woman posted a meme mocking a former landlord, claiming he was a fraudster. It went viral in a local Facebook group. The landlord sued for defamation, arguing that the post hurt his business and reputation. Although the woman claimed it was just a joke, a court found the post untrue and damaging. She was ordered to pay 75,000 rand.
So here's a case of too little too late. This is the internal monologue, and I don't know how many people have this kind of thing going on, but the internal monologue you have with yourself before you press post. If you don't believe in your head it's a joke, or you know what the motive is, don't press the button. So the simple reality is, whether you've mentioned it expressly or not, in some platforms, let's just say, for example, on a professional platform such as LinkedIn or of the nature, you've got your entire employment history largely put out there, and people can either track it directly or they can easily find out. And then you start making a comment about a certain party or employer linked to that chain. And it doesn't take rocket science to figure out who the party is.
Yeah.
And
the tracking tools now are at such a level that you can go down and find out where that person was, from which laptop it came, from which area, which community, down to the house, into the room. So you've got to really think about this.
And again, to try and come what appears to be, in this particular case, oh no, it was a joke, or try and justify yourself later, or it's true, or in the public interest. Is it really? Let's dig deep into that, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a person that has a commercial or personal motive. And again, that doesn't help your case, and it causes damage to your opponent. And penultimately, it's going to come back. So this is just a cautionary tale of cause and effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said something very interesting at the beginning, and I want our listeners to understand this. You have seen an increase in cases of people going after each other for defamation.
Well, yes. I think there's a lot of attorneys in the country that have at least done a couple of letters for cease and desist. Cease doing the X, Y, and Z commentary on platform, or doing X, Y, and Z conduct failing, which we're going to sue you. The fact that it has to escalate to that every single time, this is conduct that is easily manageable and should be in the minority of our litigation, as opposed to a commonplace thing. I mean, I think when put to it, there's a fair amount of attorneys that could attest to at least doing one a cease and desist letter in their career.
And I just want to get back to this point this is yet again a very important point to, as before we wrap up. Social media precedent is Sparta versus Richter and another, that was 2013. A Facebook post and even a like. Listen to this. A Facebook post and even a like were found to constitute actionable defamation. So be careful what you like online.
Well, look, effectively what it is an endorsement of the statement.
100%.
So
It
you,
is.
you can't be doing that. Again, if it's a complaint about a particular service, yes. If it's a character attack, an assassination of a corporate entity or otherwise, it's gone too far. And now you're putting your signature effectively to that, say, I agree. It's tantamount to saying a mayor of a particular jurisdiction is X, Y, and Z bad character. And we're all signing a petition to say he's X, Y, Z character without any supporting evidence whatsoever on that score.
Yeah, and I, in the last minute, I want to run through some of the myths about defamation that you've put forward here, and I think it's important to hear it from you.
All right.
The first one, the myth is, if it's true, I can say it.
No. So if it's true, I could say it is not the answer. Number one, what are your motives and what's the impact?
Yeah.
That's the counter to that one.
Myth two, I was just retweeting it. I didn't write it.
Think before you retweet. The simple reality is you are effectively endorsing the statement. So be very careful putting your stamp to anything.
And final myth, I'm not famous, so no one will sue me.
Couldn't be farther from the truth. You'll find a lot of famous people going after that person for that statement, or even normal people. It's just not acceptable. Don't do it.
Yeah, I think you've given us another thing to think about, right? Because we walk through social media, through the digital landscape like zombies, and we think everything's okay. I love today's masterclass. Jared, where can people get hold of you?
So, folks, you can get hold of us on www.jdjattorneys.co.za.
Jared Jones here with Justice in Motion, cutting through legal noise one truth at a time.